Hi there. Let's talk a little bit about some angle relationships. So the first type of angle relationship we're going to look at is our adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are just next to each other. So if you look in this box right here, adjacent angles are angles CDA and ADB. So they share a vertex and they share a side. Complementary angles are next. Complementary angles can be adjacent or they can be separate. Here they're separate, but like I said, they could be stuck together. The only qualification to be complementary is to add to 90. Supplementary angles could also be adjacent or not. In this case, they're not. The supplementary angles, you'll notice, add to 180 degrees. So one thing that people do sometimes is they think of like little ways to remember things. So like complementary angles starts with a C, right? But they add to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles starts with an S, but they add to 180 degrees. That might help you remember it just a little. A linear pair. A linear pair has a couple of qualifications. It must be adjacent and it must add to 180. So this right here is a linear pair. You'll notice there's like a line there, and those two angles that are adjacent add to 180 degrees. Vertical angles are probably my favorite, but they're a little bit of a misnomer because they don't have to be vertical. They don't have to be up and down. They just have to be across from each other when two lines intersect. So look at this picture here. I've got two lines that intersect at one point. And what's happened is that on opposite sides of that intersection, I have two angles that are congruent. Now I also have two angles here that are congruent. And if you think about that, see how that line is? This is actually a linear pair. So that 100 and an 80 over here add up to 180 degrees. And because I know this one's 80 and these are a vertical pair because they're across from each other, this one is also 80 degrees. Okay, y'all, let's go over the examples. Now, in this first example, it says that angle LMN and angle PQR are complementary angles. Complementary adds to 90 degrees. They want you to find the measures of uh, the angles if the measure of angle LMN is 4x minus 2 and the measure of PQR is 9x plus 1. I know that this angle plus this angle equals that total number of degrees. So here we go. 4x minus 2 plus 9x plus 1 equals 90. Combine like terms, 13x minus 1 equals 90. Add 1 to both sides. 13x equals 91. Divide both sides by 13. And x equals 7. All right, I always love when you get to x, but you're not done yet, right? You need to substitute those things back in. So for us, the measure of angle LMN was 4x minus 2. But now that we know x, we can substitute it. So 4 times 7 minus 2. 4 times 7 is 28, minus 2 is 26 degrees. Now for the measure of angle PQR, you could also substitute, or you could say, wait, I know that these two angles add up to 90. 90 minus 26 should give me 64. And you can stop right there. So you can either subtract from 90 to find your answer, or you can substitute to find your answer. Okay, so in this next one, it asks us to find linear pairs and vertical angles from the figures. Oh, let me let you see it. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there because maybe you'll like to see that too. Linear pairs, remember, are supplementary and adjacent. So I'm gonna look for lines. I see one line right here, and the pair that I can see is angle 4 and angle 5. Now I see another line that has a pair of angles on it, and that is this line. And you'll notice that 4 and 3 are the linear pair too. Okay. Vertical angles, of course, are angles that are across from each other at the intersection of two lines. So angle 5 is across from angle 3, and they are congruent. So angle 5 and angle 3, angle 3, that's ugly. Sorry, angle 5 and angle 3 are vertical angles across from each other. Okay, now it's maybe worth noting that you have kind of another set of vertical angles, right? Angle 4 is equal to the sum of angle 1 and angle 2. And they're not a pair of vertical angles because it's more than two angles. You could also say that you have sort of a linear triple here. If you added 5 plus 1 plus 2, you would have that 180 degree supplementary set. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this next one. I love this next one because it's kind of like a puzzle. And I will tell you that the people who write these problems set them up so that you can solve them alphabetically. So I'm going to go ahead and write down A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so right next to the letter A, on the same line, I have this box. And remember, this box means that it is 90 degrees. So because these two are a linear pair, and one of them is 90, the other one has to be 90. So A is 90 degrees. Now across from that box, as a vertical angle, is B. So B is also 90 degrees because they are vertical angles. Now C, you'll notice, is on the same line as this angle here that is 138 degrees. And so because these are supplementary, because this is a linear pair, to find C, you're going to take 180 and subtract 138. 42 degrees. So that's the answer for C. Then for D, you'll notice that these two are on the same line and they are a linear pair as well. So they add up to 180. So for D, 180 minus 132 gives you 48 degrees. Now E is a vertical angle with this 132 degrees. So E is the same measure, 132 degrees. Then all you have to do once you've filled in your picture is fill in the answers. So A is 90, B is 90, C is 42, and D is 48, and E is 132 degrees. Okay, have fun on those practice problems.